Folsom Lake to Lake Tahoe, your backyard, where freedom grows. Oh, tall and strong as a cedar trees, it's liberty in EDC. Hey everybody, welcome to Liberty in EDC. I'm here with Erin Cruz, and she's going to be explaining to us a little bit about her campaign that she's doing, and also her initiative that she's heading up to recall the governor. Hi, Erin.
Hi, how are you today? It's so good to be on the show with you and to talk to the people of the state of California.
Great. Yeah, we're really blessed to have you here. So first of all, tell us a little bit about you. Who is Erin Cruz?
Well, I'm probably much like everybody out there. I'm just a regular woman person. I'm a mom. My kids are grown. I'm also a widow. My husband passed away from cancer some years back. And, I had to figure out after that point in my life what I wanted to do. My late husband had such a heart for the people, and he was a scientist, and he really got knocked in the later part of his career because he didn't want to do the PC, politics part of science. And I saw his struggle, and I thought, I never really was able to get into politics when we were married because he needed to stay removed and we couldn't, but I thought, now is the time. The people are hurting. The people need a fighter. The people need somebody who cares. And at that point, I had started authoring a book. And it was to help educate women on communication, because that's what I felt was our largest kind of breakdown, maybe the fundamental part of why we're really struggling is communication, or the lack thereof, or the divisiveness. And so
when you say "we're," who's "we're" in this? Like everybody?
Everybody, so many people. I mean, in terms of the people are really struggling. I mean, between the mainstream media and some of the communities and the divide maybe on political lines, and maybe not all communities are the same, but it seems like this climate. There's this climate that's at that point was starting to fester. That was in 2013 and 14. And so I wrote this book, and it was well accepted by a lot of people, activists and moms, and the men loved it more than the women did. It was written specifically for women, but I thought, maybe the guys will like it. They did. Awesome. I think it helped them understand a lot about thinking and communication, and maybe what women were thinking. And there's another divide, right? Men and women thinking differently. But anyway, getting back to kind of the shift politics was, I was always an activist. I mean, in the sense that I was involved in community groups and things, but not real deep. And when I wrote that book, I really started seeing, when I would talk to people and educate and minister, through communication, just the lack of understanding and even my own perspective. I had to do something. I couldn't just not. I had to. And so I decided.
Sorry, you said lack of understanding. Lack of understanding of what?
The interpersonal parts of politics impact us all. The way we think, the way we act, the way we participate in our lives every day. I think that some of maybe the more minute things that we do every day really do play out in our political lives. Everything's interconnected. Even if you don't think it is, I really strongly believe that it is in some way, all interconnected, be it family life, church life, politics. It all plays out in maybe the way you handle your finances, or how government impacts your life or doesn't. And it's all intertwined in some sense. And so when I realized how involved but uninvolved I was, and in politics at the time, it dawned on me that I can really make a change. I mean, I'm making a change in writing my book and educating and doing workshops and doing all of these different activities as a woman and as an activist, as an author, but that I could do more. And when my girlfriend asked me, Erin, who are you going to vote for United States Senate at the time, right? It was Dianne Feinstein and a pool of 20 some odd people at that point in that race. I said, I don't know. So I started looking at who was running in that race, and I realized there's nobody I could vote for. There was no one I could vote for. And my girlfriend says to me, "Hey, Erin, why don't you run?" And I thought, that's just crazy. That's crazy. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. Is that crazy? And I started examining our founders, and I started examining kind of the thoughts behind why you would want to do something so impactful, and how you could really make impact, and what your knowledge base is, and how you could use the resources available as a citizen to be able to be a United States Senator. And I thought, this is not out of reach.
So this last senator race, this was your first foray into official politics.
Go at it. And that's what really, I think, when I came back from that race, if you will, that run for U.S. Senate, of course, we didn't make the primary. But when I came back from that, I had a lot of take-homes, right, about how campaigns work, how working with the people is really in real life in a campaign and with your community, and traveling the state, up and down the state many, many times, and the needs of the people here, diverse needs, be it Northern California, Southern California. We may have some common struggles like taxes, but there are unique needs within communities throughout California. So when I came home after that primary, there was a long time before the general election had to happen, right? June to November. And I started helping candidates at home. And I started helping candidates, from assembly candidates to congressional candidates, through the Erin Cruz show. And hearing the needs and the struggles of their races, not getting the grassroots support maybe they needed, or even party support they needed to be able to be effective against the big party machines, and looking towards citizen governance and being involved on that level. I jumped in both feet at that point to help, because I saw there was a need. And then the election happened, right, in November, for all of these individuals throughout the state. And it was so many, it was something such that I think we have not really seen here before in California in terms of corruption and perhaps, and election fraud, perhaps, a lot of ballot harvesting, which was relatively new at the time. And we saw Orange County turn blue. And we saw people who should have won not win. And we saw the impending doom of Gavin Newsom taking office. And then I'm going to take you full circle. It was at that point when we started seeing, the rollout of November and the general election, that people started getting fearful. What if the tables turn? What if Gavin Newsom takes office? What if we lose the House? What if? And before that time, I had never really experienced the pulse of the people, if you will, and really saw their concerns, legitimate concerns for the future of our country. I mean, I was concerned for the future of my country. I know many people were, but to literally see and be able to feel that move to actual fear, this could be a turning point for our state. And that's when I returned home after the November elections, helping all these candidates, and looked at the fact that, I need to do something in my hometown and where I live. I'm new there, 3 years new. I looked at our candidate for Congress, and he's corrupt. I'm running against Raul Ruiz. I'm running for the 36th Congressional District in California. And
the 36, that is Riverside?
Riverside County. and across the 10 freeway from Hemet all the way inland. And I've lived there for 3 years. I follow the House, votes. I follow all of that. And I saw that this individual, Raul Ruiz, was voting, pretty progressive. But I didn't actually sit down and study and look. And this is what we need to do. We need to actually sit down and look at what our representatives are doing in terms of their vote.
As all of us as individuals in our community,
Yes,
that's something we should be doing.
Yes, every one of us should be looking at how our representation is voting, be it in the Sacramento legislature, as state senators or assembly persons, governors even, or House of Representatives in the Senate. I mean, we know how Feinstein and Kamala vote, but I think that we've got to examine these elections, who we're looking at voting for, and what they've done in the past, and what they're doing presently in terms of if they're an incumbent, how they're voting specifically. It's really important because when I started to look real close at what Raul Ruiz was doing, I was shocked. And then I found out Raul Ruiz, he came here as a 1-year-old from, another country. And that's great. He's an immigrant, right? And I think we're a country of people who've immigrated here legally, right, over time. He was educated here, and he's a MD. He's a Seventh-day Adventist and a strong family man, but he voted for infanticide. And his votes are like that, fundamentally in conflict with not only his work, his profession, his education, and perhaps any type of oaths he's taken. Most of his votes are completely in contrast with what he states as who he is as a person.
Yeah.
And
so what he says and what he does doesn't match, and that's why you're saying he's corrupt.
Right. And beyond that, it's Pelosi, you could say the same thing. I mean, people of faith, how are you a person of faith, or even strong morals, not even if you're a religious person, but you have strong morals and values, yet you vote in complete conflict with everything that you say you stand for and what you actually stand for in terms of your policy. Hold on, my dog. He's walking around. In terms of your policy, I think that if it's in stark contrast with who you say you are, it doesn't add up, and that's to me corrupt. But I also learned that there might be other corruption in the Valley. There's a group of progressive individuals who are trying to make coalition to basically lock out any kind of conservative or liberty-based view. That's a problem. They call them the Mexican cartel.
Why do they call them that?
Why do they say that?
Yeah.
Well, I think that they're tied in to certain individuals who may have ties to Mexico, and they may have ties to other types of trade or work or I would like to be cautious on how I state this, but I think that there are ties there that people don't deny, and as a matter of fact, they joke about it. The ties to these groups, and so you have not only the fundamental issue as a person and what your belief systems are that are in contrast to how you're voting, but you also then have the business ties, the networking ties that perhaps could be linked to really, really absolute corrupt issues that, like we're seeing today in Congress, in fact, from many representatives, and that's a concern. So in this race for Congress, when I decided to run, I thought, the people here don't have true representation. Where I live in Palm Springs is pretty liberal. It's like 70-30, you know.
Uh-huh.
But over the valley, Riverside, we're still a red county. We're still a red county. So while we may have liberal hotspots or lockdowns or, you know, areas where there are a lot of liberals, I believe that throughout the county we have overall a conservative base, and or even, let's just say, centrist Democrats who want strong fiscal policies, not socialism.
Yeah.
So I decided I would run, and I decided that I would represent everybody, and be the people's voice for strong representation there. And it's a D+2 seat. It's a winnable seat. But like I mentioned to you before, the people need to have their voice heard in representation in Congress. And we as a whole, as Californians and as United States citizens, need to help grassroots candidates. Because like
Definitely.
I said in the primary earlier, when I started right after the primary into the general election, when I started to help these candidates throughout California, I saw the needs. They need manpower, they need volunteers, they need phone bankers, but they also need finance. And we have a lot of citizens here in the state of California. If everybody gave $5 to each of these candidates, maybe take 5 candidates and, you know, $5 for groups of people, then the money would add up. Key races, and it really couldn't help make an impact against the big party politics. So what I guess I'm looking for is for people to help candidates like myself, help candidates out there in other areas who are going to be a strong voice in DC, who are going to stand up for our Constitution and also for the President of the United States as it aligns with the Constitution, and do the work, because we need it desperately.
Yeah.
So if people want to get involved in my campaign, they can do so. They can donate. They can read about me first. I always ask, please read about me, learn about me, do your research, and look at the race and see if it's something it's worth investing in.
Yeah.
And they can do so by going to erincruz.org. And they can learn everything they need, and they can send me an email if they have a question or two as well.
Okay, great. So now that's your run for Congress now, and then you're also heading up the recalling of our Governor Newsom.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So when at that same point, it was about November, December, was right when Governor Gavin Newsom had been elected, before he was sworn into office. I'm not sure if you recall, but on the screen on election night, there was a screen that came up where John Cox had been on the screen alongside Gavin Newsom. And it showed John Cox was winning.
Okay.
And then the screen switched, and then Gavin Newsom was in a full-fledged takedown, massive advantage over John Cox.
Like suddenly just a landslide out of nowhere.
It was just, and it was just the screen switch so quick, and it almost looked like a blip. Oh, we made a mistake. We had John Cox in the win. No, it's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's going to win. And the people, I think that sparked a little bit of fear in the people. And their automatic reach out to me, because I think it was because I ran for U.S. Senate, their automatic reach out to me was, Erin, did you see what happened? And of course, I'm at the election night event down in San Diego with John Cox and the Republicans down in San Diego, wanting to be a part of that experience since I live so close. So I didn't see the TV. I didn't see that blip. There were TVs everywhere. There were cameras everywhere. It was a pretty crazy night, but I didn't see that blip. But I did not believe the people, because these things happen. But what I told individuals was this, because I started getting calls on election day, Erin, I went in to go vote. I didn't want to vote for Gavin Newsom, but I can't even vote at all. And I said, what do you mean you can't vote at all? And I guess there was a big issue in LA County with the ballots and to vote for provisional ballots. And they were upset. And I got hundreds of phone calls that night at that event when I was downtown. And my phone was off the hook about that. And I think that their fear at that point was their vote was not going to matter. Or if it was counted, would it really be counted? Because there were so many glitches in that election between the motor voter roll issues and all of the missing ballots that weren't able to be cast unless they were voting provisional.
Now, is this something that's being investigated, or did they investigate it?
Yeah, so I think that there's a combination of two things going on there. So there is, I believe, an investigation into what happened. And then I believe there was a preliminary investigation that came up with that basically the motor voter rolls and how they were using the system created a glitch. My view is you just shouldn't go and stop right there. You should be going to that next stage and figuring out if there was indeed a glitch or a system error, what was the actual impact of that error?
Yeah, and what's the error? What does that mean?
Hi, I'm Rick Rowe, owner of Placerville Polaris and Power Tools. I've owned and operated Placerville Polaris since 2007. If you'd like to experience the off-road, or if you have property in our community, come on in. Let's see what we can build for you. We are your one-stop shop for off-road fun. We do it all, from building your dream toy to decking out your razor. We are complete with a full shop, and we proudly service all our products, including our power tools. We carry only the best top-quality brands, and we have everything you need for taking care of your property and maintaining your 100-foot defensible fire space. Building off-road vehicles is a passion of mine that I take very seriously. I like to be personally involved in building your dream toy from start to finish. Here at Placerville Polaris, we do a lot of testing for the manufacturers to ensure you get the proper accessories to fit your specific needs. One of my favorite parts is test driving to maximize satisfaction and quality. Come on in. Let's see what we can build for you.
What is the error? What does that mean? And they really didn't go into that. They only stated, and this was in an article that the state of California had come out with information on, basically that the election system was impacted by the motor voter system. And that doesn't tell us anything. And how secure are our elections if our systems don't operate? And was there any loss there, discouragement of the voters there? Were people turned away there? This is something that Democrats talk about all the time, is access to being able to vote.
Yeah.
So
put sunshine on it.
Right, put sunshine on it. That would be great. So they really didn't go much deeper into it. So, but back to the recall, because this is what I think we're really here to talk about.
Yeah.
Is when people were calling me about the election and their concerns because of the screen that popped up where it showed John Cox was in the lead and then he wasn't. And then between that and individuals calling me because they were worried their vote wouldn't count because they're not on the voter rolls as registered. And then working through all of these issues, they were saying to me, they meaning the people were saying to me, Erin, our elections are fixed. There's corruption, I don't believe it. I don't trust our system. I don't, and that's a concern. They were saying that by default, they really felt strongly that the Democrats were going to take the gubernatorial seat as well as other seats. And as we see it rolled out, Gavin Newsom had 60%, over 60%. He was elected. Now, in January, when people asked me, Erin, would you would you help us? We're scared because it was about January 1st. He didn't take his oath until what, the 3rd? It was about January 1st. People were coming and calling me and asking me, Erin, I need your help. I'm worried. I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to leave California. If he takes office and does what we think he's going to do, I won't be able to stay. So
why do you think they're saying that?
They're afraid they're not going to be able to financially afford, Prop 13 if the property taxes are adjusted and some of the policies that Gavin Newsom touted he would put in place were going to go through, what that would do to them as maybe retired individuals living on fixed incomes or veterans who live on fixed incomes. Other situations, they may have property that's valued at a certain rate. That's what they pay the property taxes on. If that changed, they'd be priced out immediately.
Now, is that Prop 13? That you're talking about?
Yes, they were afraid that there would be a rollback of what current policies in place, and as we see now, there is Prop 13 going through, another that could very well put people out of California if it gets put on the ballot and people vote for it. But here's the thing: these individuals came.
Sorry, when's that going to be on the ballot?
I don't know if it's qualified yet.
Okay.
I'd have to actually look. I actually just went to a meeting 2 days ago and we were discussing it. I would answer you, but I don't have the answer and I don't like to give unquantified responses. So I can look at that and send you information on it, but I believe it will make the ballot. But back to the people, they said, Erin, we need your help. So I said, okay, I don't know what I can do to help you. Well, can we get rid of him? And I'm like, he hasn't taken office yet. But what can I do to help? So we looked at, meaning myself and some volunteers, because you can never do these things alone. You can never do any kind of big activism, big programs alone. You have to have people, and the people need to support the initiatives, whatever they might be. So I decided to start a political nonprofit, 501c4. It's called RAN Action Fund, and it stands for Restoring America Now Action Fund, and then move forward on initiatives. And one of the ones that was predominant was recalling Gavin Newsom. Of course, he hadn't even taken his oath yet. So we did all the background, we did all the research, and then we moved forward with doing the intent to petition. And it was real important for us to have regular people on there. Everybody I know in politics said, go to the big guys, get this big guy's name, get that big guy's name, go get the money. You need the money. I said, you know what? We've been doing this all wrong. The people have to have an active participation in the state of California as citizens, because the reason why we're failing right now is because that's been lacking. Very lacking. And so we move forward with our intent to petition with regular folks, people like you and me, retired school teachers, law enforcement, first responders, regular people, union members, non-union members, right-to-work people, pro-2A people, non-pro-2A people, everybody, just all different varied views, conservatives, moderates. So we move forward. The Secretary of State kicked our first intent to petition. Really? And yes, they did. And
how come?
Well, it was interesting. It was really interesting. My understanding is, the intent to petition, it's basically a document for those people who are out there listening. It's a document where I say, alongside of other fellow citizens, that we intend to petition Governor Gavin Newsom and for a recall. Yeah. And it states the reasons why, and it states all of our names, and that should be a constitutionally based document where we all sign and we serve Gavin Newsom. We file what we served Gavin Newsom with the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State says, okay, yes, you guys are all registered California voters, and let's move to the next stage. Well, they kicked our signatures.
Like something was wrong with them, or
There's something wrong with them, or somebody wasn't registered. We didn't even go into the examination process because we determined that we knew that there was likely going to be an issue, and we wanted to determine what those issues were and then make sure that we had enough margin for whatever the issues came back as, because it could have been various things, and then move forward again. So we were already ready to move forward again. And we did so. I believe that in that intent to petition, we needed 65 individuals, and we had about 75 that filed, and that should have been enough. But apparently it wasn't. They brought it under the 65.
Whoa.
And so we moved forward the next time with 137 proponents.
So they didn't even give you guys a reason why.
They said we didn't have enough qualifying proponents.
Okay.
So they knocked about 10 of them. They knocked, and it really shouldn't be that way. It should be, because it's not a statutorial signature qualification. It's a constitutional. They should have just basically, you're a citizen, you're a California registered voter, done. I mean, it shouldn't be that rigid. Petitions, on the other hand, where you're actually signing a petition or an initiative, those are different. They have to really look at them, and we know why. We need to make sure that people aren't falsifying information and what have you. But in the intent to petition process, it's different. So I think that we were prepared well. We came forward the second round with 137 proponents, again, regular folks, and we were all ready for the battle, if you will. And it went through.
Awesome.
And it went through, and not only did it go through, it went through with flying colors. We moved forward to get our petition approved with minor edits. It took one back and forth, just a period and spaces. You can't have one little thing off. It has to all be very exact. So on the petition. So we moved through, and we started circulating September 6th. And it's been history ever since. The people are fired up, and they're excited. The grassroots are excited. All different parties are involved. Our run in terms of this initiative has been strong. We have libertarian support. We have the CRA, the California Republican Assembly endorsement, unanimous endorsement.
Wow.
So, we have a lot going on in terms of party support or political group support. But the biggest thing is that we're seeing in California, the people are stepping up. Regular people who've never even been in politics at all, haven't been out in activism at all, are stepping up as well. So that's important for the future of our state.
Yeah. Definitely. So with that, so we're in the petition process right now, right?
Yes, we're circulating.
So how many signatures do we have to get? Like, what can you kind of walk us through this whole process to, where we're actually able to recall the governor?
Yes, absolutely. So we started circulating on September 6th, and we have until February 13th. Of 2020 to garner just under 1.5 million signatures. And if we were to garner enough signatures in the next 2 monthly cycles, because signatures are gathered and submitted over time to the counties. So if you're in El Dorado County collects signatures throughout its county. We have authorized personnel from our committee. You guys work with them to be able to file at the county level. Each county has a system like that each county files their petitions, and they're all the petitions are kept locally at the county level. And then we have timelines. We had a September 30th date. We have an October 30th date. We have, through this process where the local county registrar reports to the Secretary of State. Everything's kept local. So the county reports to the state, And if we can, in the next 2 cycles, not October, but in November, I think it is, hit our 1.5 million signatures, then we could possibly, it's not for sure yet, we have people looking at the numbers and the data and the timelines, possibly hit a May election. If not, because this is a grassroots movement and the people...
Now, would this be a special election if we get enough signatures? Okay.
That would be a special election. But again, the mainstream media isn't covering this. They're not putting it out there like they did Davis, right? They're not really hitting the mark in terms of serving the people and getting that information out. So that said, we're going to have to work really hard in our communities to minister and share with our people what's going on in our club groups, church groups, wherever it is that we're at, to really get the message out. So I don't know that we're going to hit that special election mark.
Okay.
If we don't, then what will happen is then the deadline is February 13th to garner the signatures that we need, just under 1.5 million of them. And then what will happen at that point is once it's put on the ballot, then we will have to have, I say we're in battle right now, right? We're in a battle right now to get all these signatures and get the citizens activated. But we'll be in a new battle at that point once Gavin Newsom is put on the ballot for recall. And what will that battle be? That'll be the people of the state of California determining who they're going to want to run for our next governor. And this was something that's of concern to a lot of people. Why? Because a lot of people are saying, well, we don't want another, Arnold Schwarzenegger type situation where we had this pool and some superstar came in and we thought he would do great things and turned out he wasn't everything that we had hoped for. And that's we meaning Republicans, perhaps, or some Republicans. So we're going to really have to have conversations about what we as people want for a governor in the state of California. And when does that start? Now. That starts right now. And I believe that starts in our grassroots movement across the state. When people are talking and signing petitions, because many cases are individuals who are coming to the table, they say, well, who are we going to have in there? Who are we going to put up? Is it going to be another John Cox, or is it going to be we're just going to get another Newsom? And the talking points people need to remember when they're out there is, let's have this conversation now, and let's talk about what we know we don't want is another Gavin Newsom.
Right.
We know we don't want somebody who's not going to represent the people. So we are encouraging individuals who are working booths and tables and in their communities being active on the petition to have those conversations now, to plant the seed that's the messaging. We don't want another Gavin Newsom. We do want somebody who's going to serve the people. We need somebody who's going to look at, some of the pension issues or, some of the fire first responder issues and actually solve some of the problems that are going on, like infrastructure issues, and look at reduction of tax, gas tax, some of these other things, and support our president in terms of national security and allowing, troops at the border, national security type initiatives. Gavin Newsom's pushed out some pretty scary policy in terms of not supporting national security issues.
Yeah, that's something I want to ask is, why should people be wanting to, recall the governor?
My name is Jeff Gutierrez, one of the owners of True Value Hardware on Missouri Flat Road. My parents are the original owners and bought the store 36 years ago. I grew up in the business and had my first day at 12 years old. The first customer I went up and asked for help, he said, "Yeah, go get someone older." I still get that response today, but now it's a compliment. Steel and John Deere are rated the best in their respective industries. And here at True Value, we have the benefit of carrying and being the local dealers for both of those products. I've always looked at being a salesman as you got to love what you sell. If you love what you sell, it's not gonna feel like it's a job. You're just getting the right equipment for the customer. The great thing about our store is you can do everything through the store here. We have a repair shop, we have rentals. If you don't know how to use it, we go over everything when you rent the product. I myself am a new homeowner, so I am getting an idea of everything that I need for home renovations. Everybody's got a different job, and we want to be a part of that job and help them through that job. It's very important for us to have a happy staff. Our staff is an extension of us. We support a lot of families through this business, and that's what I love. I love it when a customer comes in and says, "Hey Jeff, I need this," or "Hey Brian, I need this." It kind of warms my heart to know that our store has such a footprint in the community. We try to support our community in many different ways, and one of those ways is through donations. We definitely help out all of the local schools. We support Relay for Life, local youth sports, Eagle Scouts, Toys for Tots, many different organizations. It's important for us to be a part of the community and to really make an impact in people's lives.
Well, there are a lot of reasons why people will want to recall the governor, and it largely varies. And what do I mean by that? Your reason for wanting to recall the governor, or might be wanting to recall the governor, might be different than my reason. Our reasons are broad, and when I say our, that means our proponent on our intent to petition. This is the petition right here. We stay broad, and the reason why is because we talk about mismanagement of policies, public monies, and resources. There are a lot of, I mean, you only have a couple, 200 characters you could fit in there. We need to talk broadly, but the lack of leadership, deterioration in communities, poor schools, crumbling infrastructure, rise of costs from gas to utilities, mass housing crisis, increase of homelessness, insurmountable debt caused by gross mismanagement. So increased public safety risk by pushing forward laws and policies like Medicare for all or universal health care, and laws protecting and helping illegal aliens, putting Californians and United States citizens, including our veterans, last. I mean, those are broad. And the reason why they're broad is because even in the infrastructure, somebody may not, they may think, well, yeah, there are a lot of potholes, but I'm really worried about the bridges that are falling down. There are certain other dams that are crumbling, and that may not have been under Gavin Newsom as a governor, but you remember he was the lieutenant governor. He was a part of this whole process, and he's been in politics in California for a very long time. He helped San Francisco crumble. So, but in any case, out in the streets, different individuals have different views of what that might mean to them.
Yeah, that's something that's really surprising to me is him getting elected to governor, and you see like what happened in San Francisco, and San Francisco used to be a really beautiful city, and it is like you don't want to go to San Francisco now. I mean, it's so bad. Like it's
not safe. It's gross. It's dirty. And if you look at the overall infrastructure from a photographer's perspective, maybe from the Golden Gate Bridge, it may be beautiful. But when you get down in the street, the reality is there are a lot of people who are hurting. It's people are outpriced. The people who have to work there can't afford to live there.
Yeah.
And they want rent controls. It's just, the list goes on and on and on. But the proof and the evidence, like you're stating, is Gavin Newsom brought San Francisco to its knees and made a once beautiful, beautiful city to the point where there's feces on the street and injection needles. You have to worry if you're walking your child hand in hand, you might have to worry that there might be a needle on the road. I mean, this is really a scary state of affairs where, everyday citizens should be concerned that if this is how he operated in San Francisco, prosperous place. It was beautiful. Look at California. He's just got a whole new playground. And quite frankly, it's not a game. And people are concerned. And that's why we did step up and unite to be able to move forward in this effort for the people. But, you know, there are a lot of different people out there, individuals, different viewpoints, who want to recall Gavin Newsom. In fact, 30% of the people that are signing are Democrats with buyer remorse. They're...
So it shows that it's not just we're sad, or, you know, we're upset that our team lost. It's, you know, there's real reasons behind this.
Right. There's real and actual impactful reasons why people want him gone, out of office, meaning Governor Newsom. And it's not a team A lost, so team B's got to go. No, that's not it at all. Really, we're hearing, even at our tables, our volunteer tables, union members are concerned because of different issues. Public employees are concerned because now Gavin Newsom has moved to scrape off the top of our pensions. And what is he going to scrape the money off the top of our pensions for, those earnings? He's going to put it towards climate change. You know, and it really, to me, it doesn't matter what you scrape off the top of the pensions for. We have a pension crisis. The money for the pensions should stay for the pensions. And we have a lot of problems there. We need to deal with those problems and issues with solutions, and not be inflaming the issue or adding to the issue. And so the public employees are concerned because they're saying, you know, what's he doing? He's going to tap into the pensions. You know, another politician going to tap into the pensions again. And if you're pro-pension or anti-pension, that doesn't matter. Look at the issue. The issue is you have somebody who's in government wanting to, again, tap into a resource he shouldn't be able to tap into. Then there's a lot of issues surrounding Second Amendment rights. Gavin Newsom signed in, you know, over a half a dozen bills now. It seems like
there's just a new bill he's signing like every other day almost.
Yeah, he signed almost 900 bills.
Wow.
Since he's taken office. And the bills he's signing, some of them may just be procedural, but in terms of less government, that's what we need. We don't need more regulation. We don't pass bad legislation. Just because, you know, I mean, I think that one of the terms we use for my campaign is liberty before legislation, right? People before politics, because I think that we've got to get back to that space of just because we need something doesn't mean we need something, and doesn't mean we need the government to get into the mix. And it seems like Gavin Newsom wants to get into the mix quite a lot. And with Second Amendment rights, he's like I said, he's gone in and signed in, I think it's 13 bills now over the course of his gubernatorial seat. And that's huge. And we even have individuals coming to our petition tables who are anti-gun, who are not, they don't own guns, they're not for guns, but they were really concerned that a governor would be so hostile towards the Second Amendment. And these aren't necessarily Second Amendment proponents or, you know, RA supporters. These are just people who understand the Constitution and know that it just isn't right, that criminals don't obey laws, that any legislation this man is putting into place regarding the Second Amendment won't stop a criminal from going across state lines and buying a certain gun on the black market or wherever to create or commit a crime. So, you know, regular everyday folks with different varying views have their reasons. And while we state some, I think it's important for people to talk to each other and learn the issues that matter to one another and hear each other out and really start having these conversations. Because, again, we're going to have to figure out who we want to take office. So.
Something I wanted to circle back to that you brought up that's in there, and that's about the illegal immigration. and or protecting immigrants over national citizens.
I would say illegal aliens over national citizens.
Yeah.
Citizens, illegal aliens is a legal term. I don't mean any offense to people who may not view the same way I do, but that is a legal term, illegal aliens. And when we mention that, we mention that right after we talk about dangerous policies, laws and policies like Medicare for all or universal health care. And in fact, and mind you, this was written very early on in the year. And so when we went forward to do our second intent petition, we kept the same language. But since Governor Newsom took office and since he's been in place, we know that now he signed legislation into place allowing for illegal aliens to receive medical subsidy up to a certain age. And it's as you may know, if your listeners don't know, even on a federal level, children who are here who are undocumented or unaccompanied minors or victims of human trafficking or what have you, they are eligible for federal benefits for health care and coverage. But in the case of adults, that's a whole new level. That's a state mandated issue now by Governor Newsom, where he's basically providing medical coverage for individuals, I believe, up to 26 years old.
Wow.
Could be older.
And the reason I brought up the immigration thing is I don't know if you've heard or not, but we had someone who's my friend, a deputy up here who was shot and killed by, and all we know is that they are Mexican nationals, but I believe, rumor that I heard is one of them, or the one who shot him, had just entered the country like 3 weeks ago before the incident. And the sheriff can't even ascertain if they're illegal aliens or not because of a Senate bill. So we don't even know. Like we're not even allowed to find out if they're illegal or not.
And so this locking of the hands for national security issues is a big deal. I'm a firm believer in states' rights. Don't get me wrong. I believe the states' rights are vital to ensuring that our country is secure because, yes, we've got the national security level and the federal and everything, but states' rights are important. They're I would not like to say more important, but really they're vital to making sure that there's not a tyrannical government that takes over our country, and that balance
I agree. That's definitely important.
Yeah. So, but that said, I'm really almost just about equally as concerned on our federal oversight on a national security level, because now we have a state. I never, ever thought I would say this. I never thought I would say this, that it would be the state that would overstep the rights and bounds of the will of the people. I always thought it would be the other way around. It would be the feds, the feds. No. It's now we're seeing here a space where the state is out of control. And literally it's stepping on the rights and the will of United States citizens residing within the state. And at what point, on you're talking about immigration, illegal immigration, foreign nationals coming in and illegally, okay, because foreign nationals can come here legally. You can come here legally. That's great and fine, and we welcome people here to our country. But people coming here illegally and committing crimes, bleeding our wealth in different various ways, resources, and impacting our communities in a negative sense. We in California, our hands are tied. Law enforcement's hands are tied. The corrections officers, they're dealing with the people who are incarcerated, and they're seeing the very real reality of these dangerous individuals being let out on the streets in America, right? And ICE not being able to be warned and do its job to be able to capture these individuals up, scoop them up, and deport them to their home country. And in your case, it's come very much home and touched your community. And I think that reality needs to be harnessed, and the communities need to rise up, if you will, and take action in whatever way they can to be able to push back against this, because you have now something that should have been completely avoided with national security initiatives. This person should have been able to be caught, found, not even maybe even led into the country to begin with, to be able to breach our border. And there's been so much pushback on the wall. And even in the state of California, I'm going to kind of bounce around here a little bit for you, but in the state of California, the governor has made it basically prohibitive for you to work as a person on a project that would have anything to do with contracting to the wall that President Donald Trump is working to put forth at the will of the people, many of them. So I think that we have what I would call a hostile government, and that's what Gavin Newsom is doing. He's not protecting the people of the great state of California. He's stopping law enforcement from being able to do their job. They have to pretty much get to the point where they consult an attorney before they do anything. In some cases, and I don't know about your county, but it's pretty hostile in LA County, San Diego County. They're real worried and cautious before they actually. You have a police officer, you have a crime and a criminal, or perceived crime and criminal, and what do? Can you even do your job now?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder.
It's a lot harder. I mean, we don't want to end up where we're like France and other countries using beanbags. We've got violent criminals on the streets who are wreaking havoc because they don't really see the repercussions, because we've seen Gavin Newsom come down and weaken laws, making many laws felonies down to misdemeanors.
Right.
And in many cases, we've seen Gavin Newsom release violent criminals back into the public, who should be serving, in some cases, life terms. That's scary, folks. That's real scary. And in the case of your law enforcement up there, those families will never be the same. The community will always remember. The way I look at this is this is a war on America, because anytime this situation happens, it affects the communities. It affects the way they look at things. It affects how they impact one another and work with one another. And it's lasting. It doesn't just go away next week because the news is on to a new subject. No, those lives are lost. Yeah. And we have to, for these people who we've lost, we have to do something. We have to take action. And to think that we have tens of thousands of these types of individuals who are in our country illegally, breaking laws, and this is maybe controversial for a lot of people out there, but the first law they broke was when they came here illegally.
Right, and not to say that, everyone who's come here illegally is a criminal who's going to shoot an officer or anything, but, they're making it hard to even catch people or, identify criminals. They're protecting criminals just because they have an illegal status. It's insane.
Right. It's federally, on a federal level, that's not okay. And I know we're in legal battles in terms of, President Trump or the Trump administration or the DOJ, if you want to call it that, suing California, and then California suing the feds, But I think that it's something where we have to get back to the basics. We have to get back to the basics. And this overstepping the bounds by Governor Newsom and tying the hands of law enforcement and on a federal level is a national security issue. It has nothing to do with states' rights. And I think that when our state has gone rogue, when California has gone rogue, it's putting the rest of the country at risk.
Right. And we're such a big state too. We have the 12th largest economy in the world or something like that, just in our state, or fifth.
It's the
Wow.
fifth largest economy in the world.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
and sometimes it's the sixth, depending on the day of the week.
Yeah.
But the point is we have so much here to offer, and why are we struggling? It's socialism. I think socialistic type policies that have been put forth over time. This is not necessarily new, though I think it's been escalated and moved forward very quickly in a lot of different ways. But I think that we should be flourishing. We should be encouraging growth for businesses, not pushing businesses out of the state. We look at Iowa. Iowa is number one in infrastructure in the United States, and their tax base is very low. And of course, it's a much different state. Okay, I get it. Iowa has different kinds of infrastructure,
demographics, all that stuff. Yeah,
everything. Yeah, but I think we have to get back to, again, the basics and serving the people and putting Gavin Newsom in his place and letting him know we're not going to be pushed around anymore here in the state of California. Yes, you cannot strong arm us with your mainstream media. We're talking to one another. We're meeting with our communities. We're doing the recall booths in our town squares. We're organizing because we realize that across party lines, we can't afford, if we want to stay in California and have strong quality of life, we can't afford to continue to move in the same direction. And like in the case of your community there, we can't afford to have our community workers killed in the line of duty unnecessarily. That was absolutely avoidable. Absolutely avoidable. And the way I look at it is, the PG&E crisis manufactured 100% like under Davis. The similar thing happened. And I think that it's completely avoidable what has been happening with Gavin Newsom and his policies and his directives. And Gavin Newsom has blood on his hands in El Dorado and surrounding areas with the 2 lives, I believe, that were impacted, right? There were two officers involved.
Yes.
So 2 lives that were impacted. But with PG&E, do you know what happened shortly after the power shut off with PG&E the first time in the first rounds last week, or was it the week before?
There was still a fire from their equipment. Is that what you're talking about?
No, actually what happened is when PG&E originally shut off the power, I think it was about a week ago, they gave the warning.
Right.
Not everybody in California has the internet. Not everybody has cable. Not everybody has a smartphone. And when Governor Gavin Newsom and PG&E shut off the power, within 12 minutes, a person had died and lost their lives because their oxygen machine no longer worked.
Wow.
People forget about the elderly, the disabled, those individuals who are poor on fixed incomes. There are all kinds of people here in the state of California. And Gavin Newsom has blood on his hands in more than one sense. And it's time for Californians to stand up. They need to stand up. And if not for their fellow countrymen and fellow Californians, and if not them, then who? And for what?
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, with this recall, is this a, searching for the word here, I guess, an offense to our democracy? The governor was democratically elected and, who's supposed to be representing the people. So doing this recall, is this, in a sense, going against the voice of the people, or why isn't it?
So it's not going against the voice of the people. It's actually a process where the people can, redress their government. Basically say, you know what, this person took office. We saw that and then some people take this position. This is obviously, we don't have this written down on our intent, but some people really felt strongly that there was a lot of election fraud, that there were a lot of issues surrounding that election, or at least perceived corruption that happened with the motor voter rolls and other things, that they really feel that it really wasn't a representation of the people. Be that yes or no, be your reasons are those or the others we mentioned, we as citizens have the right and ability to petition to have this person and other persons and other recalls removed from office. And again, this has to go to a vote. So
Right.
if, let's just say that this goes to a vote in November 2020, in this case, I think that it's important to state that our messaging, this is why we're saying this is a nonpartisan push to recall Gavin Newsom. We, as the people of the state of California, need to determine what we want.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what we wanted. This is not what Democrats, many of them are saying that they voted for, buyer's remorse or not. They're saying that this is a foul mistake that they want to fix and a wrong that they want to make right. And shouldn't we be able to do so as a people? And if we have elections, like a special election or even a recall election, if we put our money, our finances, our taxpayer dollars to anything in our country, in our republic, surely it should be national security, of course, but wouldn't another be our elections and ensuring that the people are served and served well? It's an investment, and I think people need to really recognize this is also, again, the power of the people. They want to make it happen, it will happen. If they don't, they won't. And some people are saying, well, if it is as corrupt as you say it is, or other people are saying it is, then we won't be able to do it. And I'm like, well,
we got to try, even if that's true.
If we don't do it, we are accepting what's in place right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we do it and we fail, at least we know we did it. At least we know we tried. At least we know we fought. And I think that's part of the process of, if you want to call it democracy, I'd like to say we're a Republican form of government. But I think that the people need to realize their power. They need to realize their power, that they are not powerless, that they do have this opportunity. And they've done it before with Davis. They could do it again. I know it's an uphill battle, but you do nothing, you get nothing, and you get more of the same, actually.
Where are we at with numbers right now? Do you know kind of all ballpark?
I'll tell you that. You don't even know how many people ask me that. So we just did our final reporting for this month. So people are turning in on Monday and Tuesday of this week, and I checked before we came online, and I don't have the numbers. I can tell you what we have out there circulating. This is our petition right here. And we have 3 signature lines on each page. I know we have 1.5 million signature lines circulating. Now, that doesn't mean that we have 1.5 million signatures yet, but I know we have at least that many circulating out there. We need to get them back. We need to get them signed, and we need to get them back. So I would say that with the shutoffs, it's also going to be impacted, because I know at least 4 counties that can't turn in. They've not been able to turn in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think one county was able to turn in once, but they have a whole stack of petitions, and they can't turn in. So the county buildings are shut down. So I think that that's going to make an impact. But the point is we have also next month. So the fight isn't over. We're going to keep going. We just, again, need to get all those petitions signed, get them turned in, so we can get them filed.
Do you kind of have like a general ballpark? Like, do you know if like for sure we're at least halfway there, or?
No, you're not halfway there yet that I know of. I would say that we're at about 400,000 signatures, but that's not turned in. And that's based off of how many people I know are out there circulating. And our team, our committee, team committee, whatever, has looked at the numbers in terms of who's out there, who's circulating, the numbers that we're seeing in terms of what they say they've garnered. We know that we have at least 40 gun stores that are circulating that we have not received even half of their petitions back yet. So there are a lot of numbers out there. And it's just, again, we need folks to, if you're out there and you're listening and you know people in the state of California circulating, have them go to our website. That's ranaf.org, ranaf.org, and find their petition location for dropping off or authorized personnel to submit to. If you don't know who that is, if you can't find it on the website, send us an email at join@ranaf.org. It's very important that we get everybody to return those petitions, because we need to make sure that we have a strong showing for the Democrats. They're trying to knock us up, and knock us off of our game. This is no new tactic. Davis did the similar thing. So, the people of California are not blind to this, and we'll keep fighting. But we need just people to reach out and get those petitions back in.
Yeah. Do you know offhand for El Dorado County? So I know Foothill Ammo is a location if someone's interested. Do you know offhand any other places in El Dorado County where people
I can actually
sign?
look it up right now. I have a tool for that. If your friends and family want to go on recallgavinnow.com, they can pull up our map. Some people like it, some people don't. Like, we have on there a little search tool, and you can hit El Dorado. And it looks like we have a drop-off location, we have a pickup location, we have a couple of signing locations.
Okay.
I think it's something where, just go on the map and look, and you'll be able to see them. And if you know of any businesses who want to have petitions or hold petitions, please make sure that you're a business owner. And you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
It's going to take all of us.
Definitely. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, Erin. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close out here?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, please, folks, get involved. Get involved.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the next guy, because he's likely looking and waiting for you. And then encourage the next guy to get involved and grow your communities out. This is the grassroots. This is the way we're going to be able to get California back on track. We have to start working in our communities, working with one another, building those relationships, and take our state back and save California. If we don't, we're going to be lost. So this is our opportunity, and this is our chance. So thank you for letting me come on the show and speak to the people. And God bless each and every one of you.
Awesome. Amen. Okay. Thanks again, Erin. You can find us on Comcast Channel 7 here in El Dorado County, and also youtube.com/Foothill7TV. And we'll see you guys next time.